Since I've been a long-time Archie Sonic fan, I wanted to get back into doing stuff related to the comics again. So I thought it'd be fun just talking about the history of certain characters and provide my personal thoughts on them. So for this video, we take a look at Shard the Metal Sonic, a character who has had quite the history in the comics. He made his first appearance in issue 25, where Robotnik orders him to kidnap Amy Rose in order to lure Sonic into a trap. That's right, this character was actually the first Metal Sonic created by the original Robotnik in the Archie Sonic universe. Although back then he was called Mecha Sonic for some reason. Anyway, both Sonic and Metal Sonic battle and race their way to the finish line through the Stardust Speedway. Sonic pulls off his Super Pilot move, while Metal Sonic tries to surpass that speed. But it proves to be too much for the robot as he ends up overheating and melting off half of his body, leaving the now damaged Metal Sonic behind as Sonic and the Freedom Fighters save the day. The character would later return in the Knuckles Chaotix special, now rebuilt and equipped with a power gem. This time he is summoned to Angel Island to stop Knuckles and the Chaotix from foiling Robotnik's latest plan. When the group proves to be too much for Metal, he uses the power gem to increase his power, thus becoming Titan Metal Sonic. Fortunately for Knuckles, Heavy gives him a power gem, and the two giants duke it out. Ultimately, Knuckles comes out on top, while Metal is once again reduced to scrap. Years later, Metal Sonic would return once again in the two-part story Heart of the Hedgehog. It's revealed that after his previous defeat, he managed to rebuild himself over time. Now Metal has a new body, a fragment of his power gem, and fuel for revenge against Sonic and Knuckles. He kidnaps Tails and imprisons him inside an active volcano known as Mount Mobius. After having a tussle against the Blue Hedgehog, he decides to let Sonic play his little game of having the chance to rescue Tails before the volcano erupts. But it's not that easy as Sonic would think, as Metal Sonic continues to hinder his progression while making his way to the top. Eventually, Sonic manages to rescue Tails from the erupting lava, all while Metal is right behind him. Sonic tries to tell the metallic hedgehog that there's more to life than just revenge, but when that doesn't work, he tells Tails to escape while he can. But Tails refuses and says that he'll stay by his side to fight off the robot doppelganger together. This act of bravery and loyalty causes Metal to have a change of heart, and decides to hold back the lava long enough for Sonic and Tails to escape, before ultimately being consumed by the hot liquid. It looks like this would have been the end of the original Metal Sonic, but he would have his big comeback in issue 238 in the story Foundation Work. Around this time, Sally has been roboticized once again, Sonic and what's left of his Freedom Fighters have their hands full, and Nagus is now the new king of New Mobotropolis. Knowing that the crafty wizard is up to no good again, Harvey Who enlists Uncle Chuck to rebuild the original Metal Sonic, using scrap parts from previously destroyed Metal Sonic models. Now given a second chance in life, and going under the new name Shard, he joins his fellow secret freedom fighters to stop Nagus' plan of taking full control of the people of New Mobotropolis, while occasionally helping the city itself from within the shadows. It's also revealed in flashback that, after saving Sonic and Tails from Mount Mobius, his power gem was the only thing that survived from the lava, and still possessing its data. This would later be used to create the Metal Sonic Troopers, and later rebuild Shard himself. During the Endangered Species story arc, Shard is sent on a mission of finding Sonic and his group who are currently searching for Mecha Sally. He is once again reunited with Sonic, Tails, and Amy, who are not too thrilled at the idea of seeing him back again. After some explaining and dealing with a Metal Knuckles now being possessed by the Krudzu hybrid Hydra, they slowly begin to believe that this former badnik has indeed turned over a new leaf. Shard then leaves the group with a sample of the Krudzu to help find a cure for Mecha Sally, but not before leaving behind a tracking device so that his secret Freedom Fighters group can keep tabs on their progress. He made his final appearance in Sonic Universe issue 50, where we see that he now starts to develop a bit of a relationship with Nicole, but his break time is cut short as Robotnik has now sent out his Metal Sonic, now fully charged with a power gem. The two robots duke it out for quite some time, but sadly Metal Sonic comes out on top, leaving behind a brutally damaged Shard, who contacts Nicole for a rescue team to pick him up. It leaves off on a cliffhanger for the character, as we never found out if Shard was able to recover from that battle. And that's the history of the original Metal Sonic Shard. It is quite jarring that despite the fact that this was the first time we saw Metal Sonic in the comics, he barely had that many stories when working for Robotnik. Yeah, he was about as underutilized as the comics version of Pseudo Sonic. Granted, the Metal Sonic created by the second Robotnik would get a lot more screen time, but that's a whole other different story. Anyway, not much to say about the first one. He pretty much acts as a standard minion working for Robotnik, though interestingly enough, this is actually the first time in official Sonic media where a Metal Sonic has the power of speech. Yeah, predating Sonic OVA by a couple months. His third form has an interesting design to it, like he's some kind of prototype for Neo Metal Sonic. Here, he starts to develop a bit of his own personality, starting off as a villain with a taste for revenge, but has a change of heart when he experiences compassion for the first time. And when he came back as Shard, they pretty much took the idea of a Metal Sonic reforming and just ran with it. I really like this robot. He can be cocky just like Sonic, but he does experience many other emotions, like developing feelings for Nicole, or feeling sad. I can see why this character is a fan favorite. He's the only version of a Metal Sonic who is willing to reform and move on from his past of being a villain. His new updated design is also great, especially with using the color schemes from Metal Sonic 3.0. It looks really good on him. It's a shame that his outcome from his final appearance was left undecided. The crack on his power gem could possibly indicate that he was dying, but being a robot, he could have also just been fixed and ready for action again. I know he wasn't originally planned to be featured in Endangered Species, but it was nice getting to see Shard reunite with the ones he caused so much trouble for, and tried to make amends for his past actions. Plus, it has a lot of fun banter between the characters. While Shard was one of the many characters erased from existence from the Super Genesis wave, the new canon pretty much made Jamural his replacement. Honestly, I'm not really a fan of this version of the character. Granted, Jamural really didn't have much of a personality back in Sonic Advance 3, but Archie Sonic's take just doesn't feel right. Aside from having the same personality, let alone having the same colors as Shard, having this robot that was reprogrammed to protect Cream and her mother be given a cocky personality just doesn't clash well. It comes off as being very uncanny and kinda lazy. I personally prefer IDW Sonic's take on Jamural, acting more robotic but occasionally showing some signs of being human. More of a Gamma 2.0 in a way. Well, that was fun covering this character from the Archie Sonic comics. I would love to make more of them. I've got plenty of other characters to work with, both major, minor, and of course the more obscure ones. But until then, I got a juice!